Yo, it's Trent. Hope everyone's having a good day, good week so far. And we got hiding from my parents to skip school story time. So, yeah, I was a little menace, right? And this is like beginning of high school. Well, not the very beginning, maybe like closer to end of freshman year or the start of sophomore year. Because I remember I was already done with football, right? But I played the whole first season, so it must have been sophomore year, right? And it was when I was doing a lot of, let's just say, bad things, right? Doing a lot of drugs. So I did not want to be at school at all. I'd rather skip. And I used up a lot of like sick days, you could say, right? So it got to the point where the school was calling my house, right? And they were like, he has to be there, right? And for those of you that know, I ended up going to an alternative school, so it didn't matter. But I wasn't having it. I was gonna skip. I know I was in the wrong, but you gotta hear this because I did some crazy things to skip school, right? I had to hide. So this first story, it was one of the first times I ever hid, right? And so what would happen is my mom would get up, wake me up for school, right? She'd be like, let's go, you need to go to school. And that would be at like, I'm trying to remember, that would be at like 7 o'clock, right? And the bus would come at, I think, 7:30 or 7:20, something like that, right? So what I would do on this first day, I remember the first time I ever did it, I was standing in the kitchen. I was like, man, I do not want to go. I gotta do something here, right? So I went out the front door like I was leaving for school, right? And I walked to the side of my house, and there's a little fence that's like, it goes up to like here on you. And I just hopped that, went in my backyard, and sat down, right? So I sat behind that fence for maybe an hour, hour and a half until my mom and dad left, right? And then I went back in the house, called the school, acted like my mom, and I was like, hey, Trent won't be at school today. But that's not too crazy, right? Like, I'm sure people have done stuff like that, but this next one, I don't think anyone's ever done this, right? This is unique. So I wanted to skip school again, right? It wasn't like the next day. I can't remember when it was, but it was another time, right? And I knew that people needed to think I left at like 7:15, and people left for work, like the rest of my family left at like 8:30, right? So I knew all I had to do was find somewhere to hide from that time of like 7 to like a little less than 9, right? It's like an hour and a half. It sounds like a long time if you're in a hiding spot, but for someone that really didn't want to go to school, it wasn't that bad to me, right? Because I was used to just sitting in school, hating it for 6 or however many hours straight. So an hour and a half looking at my phone in a small space wasn't too bad for me, right? So I go downstairs again, and I mistimed what I thought, like when I thought people were leaving, right? So I go downstairs to the living room after hiding in my closet, which that's not the unique part, right? Just listen. So I do that. I go downstairs thinking no one's in the house, right? Like I pulled it off again, and I hear there's a gate leading to the basement because we have dogs, right? I hear the gate close, and I'm like, oh no, right? And I'm literally standing in the living room. So there's a wall, and then there's the gate, and then there's the kitchen, right? And there's a wall separating it, and then the living room. I'm just standing in the living room. I have nowhere to hide, right? I drop down to my knees, right? Like I'm a dog, like I'm on my arms and knees, almost army crawling, and I'm trying to think, where can I hide right now, right? Like where will I not be found? And I look over to the kitchen table, right? Which is very scary because my dad had walked into the kitchen, right? And we have the countertops, they're like the size of a bar, right? Like I could be hunched underneath and you wouldn't see me, but if you just turn the corner, I'm right there, right? So I was on my hands and knees, and I'm crawling into the kitchen, and I was doing it so slowly because the ground was creaking, and it's the morning, so like people aren't talking, it's just quiet, people getting ready for their days, and I'm army crawling on the hardwood floor while it's creaking, right? Just trying to make it underneath the kitchen table, right? Which it wasn't even that great of a spot. Like you could see me from far away, but from up close, if you're just walking around, there's no way you're gonna notice someone under there unless you look, right? So I'm there, and we didn't have a tablecloth or anything, so I couldn't hide like underneath that, like underneath the table, It was just chairs all around me. So I hear him start to come around the corner, and then he turns back, and I don't know if he went to the bathroom, I don't know if he went back in the basement, but I knew that he'd be back in the kitchen more to get ready, right? So I'm trying to think, and I'm panicking, right? I thought for sure I was gonna get caught. And I noticed that there's one table, or there's one chair by my right hand. There's one chair by my left hand. There's chairs behind me. It sounds crazy, but maybe, just maybe, I could put my hands on these chairs, my feet on those ones, and like plank, like hold myself up above ground. So for any reason he just happens to look under the table, he's not gonna see me, right? But I guess you would see me still, because I'd be planking in the air. But I thought I was being slick, dude. I pushed in the chairs that I was, gonna lay on. So some of the chairs were pushed into the table. I had my hands on there, and I'm like, God, I don't know if I could put my feet on there, because it felt like I was doing an inverted push-up, dude. And my stomach, right? It was the craziest ab workout of all time. So I had my hands already on there, and I get my left foot on there, and dude, I started shaking immediately. I was like, the only reason I was able to do it is because of all the football stuff, my whole previous life, right? This is the year I quit football, but for the past, let me think, 8 to 9 years, I was playing football, so I was slightly strong, I was athletic, right? So I just held myself up, dude, like a fucking spider, and finally I hear him walk out the front door, and it shuts, and I just drop myself down, dude. My arms were shaking, my legs were shaking, my stomach felt like it was shaking, dude. I was in a lot of pain, but that has got to be the craziest way anybody has skipped school. I mean, it's one thing, right? It's one thing a little bit wild to hide in the backyard, to hide, behind the fence. That's one thing, right? But to, spider monkey yourself, I was underneath the kitchen table, and I went, fuck it, I'm gonna hide, I don't care, right? I'm not gonna get caught. And I did a plank on the damn chairs, that's crazy. I don't even know how to express this, right? It's insane. Here, this is the best way I know how to show you, right? You got your two chairs here, right? I had my feet here, and then same exact, distance, they were right next to each other, just farther up. Then I had my hands up there. I was literally, just laying in the air. That's pretty impressive, right? I mean, if you think more about it, it's kind of sad. I mean, I could have just gone to school. It wasn't that big of a deal, but you gotta think about this dedication, dude. I thought of a plan. I was gonna get caught, and I did some crazy shit to not get caught. So, yeah, that's, hiding from my parents to skip school story time, or whatever I called it. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and man, I cannot wait to play the college football game. That is gonna be sick. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you comment, I answer all the positive comments. If you're going through something and you need someone to talk to, my Instagram's the same name as my YouTube. Just go in there, DM me, and I'll get back to you within a day or two. So yeah, thanks for watching. You're not alone, and yeah, go Bears. Peace out.